Alright, I've gotten a lot of flack for hating on this thing for the price. And you guys aren't wrong. I've spent a lot more on blasters. But aren't they more fun? Because this thing's pretty one note. So the Worker Harrier. It's really good at what it does. I'm not going to deny that. It is a satisfying blaster to fire. It's got the pickup it's supposed to have. But here's the issue. I don't know about yours, but mine's not nearly as consistent as I want it to be for something out of the box like this. Is it bad? No. It's not bad, but it's not good, right? It's not great. And at the price point it is, for the pure function that it entails, it should be really good, right? And, you know, I read the comments, I talked to people on Facebook and Discord and Reddit. I wasn't fair, right? Comparing this to the Tryon isn't fair for you guys. So I'm going to do this completely differently. And I'm going to compare it to something that fills the same role and costs more money, but in my opinion, is better in every way. Okay, you had to know it was coming out again, right? If I'm going to talk about high-end springers right now, this is the first, last, and only word for me. So, Shellington, MHP, what is it, Phantom Core, built this monstrosity. And yet, it's based off the Renfield, which came first, but it is its own animal. And the thing about the Kirin that makes it so good is the gimmicks. It fulfills multiple gimmicks. It's got a lower mag capacity, which is bad for competitive play. You're all going to say that. It's bolt action. It's shell ejecting. All of those things are worse. But if I'm going to spend $200, I want something that feels good. I want something that's interesting. And the Kirin is definitely interesting. That mechanism is silky smooth. It works every time. It feels great. And it locks open. It's got 3 springs. They swap relatively easily with these 3 takedown pins. Whereas the Harrier, you've got that continuous piece of pick rail like we talked about that really hurts the takedown for me. You've got a bolt action that's actually a bolt action. Yeah, you can mount that forward bolt action on the Harrier, but that doesn't feel like a bolt action. It doesn't toggle into position. And it's not far enough back on the blaster. It's all the way up here. And yeah, it has shell ejection, which isn't as good. But isn't it though? Shell ejection means my shells don't, or my darts, don't get crushed in my magazine. Shell ejection means that every time I chamber around, I know the dart's in good shape and that it's making proper seal. I don't have to worry about barrel fit because I checked it when I loaded it. Everything about shell ejection for me is a little better. And most importantly, it's more fun. That gets noticed, and it's pretty amusing on the field. So I guess what I'm asking is, why are we paying higher sums for blasters that aren't as much fun? And I acknowledge that the performance of some of the hardware out there that's really expensive is really, really impressive. You've got, you know, the Saber out there, the big frickin' brick of Delrin, or that new CNC aluminum one they've got out, which is amazing. But why am I buying that just to chase FPS? on some level, we're supposed to be having fun. And at least for me, fun is being able to fire these at my friends without making them cry. So, what's the place for gimmicks now if everybody only cares about FPS? And I think the answer in our hobby needs to be, we should have fun again. I talked about this in the Shells video, that we're so concerned today with horsepower and getting the highest FPS we can and being the most competitive nerfer in the room. Have we forgotten that at the end of the day, this hobby is about joy? And this hobby is about just goofy games with your friends? I think we might have a problem. Staying in the fun factor, Slab by Silly Butts. Lever action. No shells. Downside to me, but other people don't like them. But you have that gimmick, right? The lever is cool. The gimmick is neat. And the fact that the whole magwell moves forward to chamber around is pretty unique. I want to say the Chimera by Northeast Designs done as well. But obviously it is a very different mech. But you have that enjoyment, right, of firing this blaster. And price-wise, it's fairly competitive with what you're going to pay for that big bad Harrier. And you can put any spring you want in it. You can get this thing going pretty hot, too. It's never going to have a perfect air seal, because it's got a turnaround. But it's fun, and it's interesting, and it's different. And going forward, as I'm thinking about what I want to do with this channel, and what I think you guys have the most fun with, is I want to just worry about having fun. I don't think I care about horsepower and FPS and the fastest and the strongest. I think the real goal here is to see how much fun we can have with the hobby. And sometimes that's going to mean weird things. And sometimes that's going to mean me buying things off of Amazon, spending too much time and effort to jam a new spring in it, paint it, weather it, and find out that the Pirate flintlock can take a K26. Which I acknowledge increased the horsepower, but only to the point where it's a lot of fun to play with. So I guess that's what I want to say to you on a Friday afternoon. We got into this to have fun. We got into this to play a shooting hobby where we could plink with our friends, where we could shoot an 8-year-old with a foam dart and not send them crying to mommy 100% of the time. And I don't want to see us lose our way in some kind of attempt to be more like paintball or airsoft. And every once in a while, you can find something that's weird and really, really cooks. Right? Arbalast. It's super cool.